Beep, beep, beep. The sound echoed through the intensive care unit. Outside, Seoul was covered in snow. Inside, time felt frozen. Ara had not moved from her chair in almost 6 hours. The shooting kept replaying in her mind. The warehouse, the gunshot, the blood, Taehyung collapsing to the ground. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw it again. The doctors had removed the bullet, but they could not promise anything. Now all she could do was wait and pray. The ICU door opened. A detective entered carrying a small evidence box. His expression looked troubled. We searched the locker. Ara immediately stood. What did you find? Without speaking, the detective placed several items on the table: old photographs, financial records, a black USB drive, and a worn leather notebook. The notebook looked ordinary, too ordinary, yet the detective handled it carefully. This was hidden beneath a false compartment. Ara slowly opened it. The first few pages contained dates, names, meetings, transactions. Nothing made sense until she reached the final page and froze. A photograph had been taped there, an old newspaper clipping, and one handwritten sentence. Ara felt her stomach drop. The handwriting was shaky, almost desperate, as if someone had written it while running out of time. The note said, "If you are reading this, trust no one." The room felt silent. Then Ara noticed another line underneath, smaller, more rushed. 3 words. Not even him. Ara's heart skipped. Not even him? Who? Before she could think, the detective pulled out another photograph. The moment Ara saw it, the blood drained from her face. It was taken 10 years ago at a corporate gala. Chairman Kang was there. Several executives were there. But something else caught her attention. A young Taehyung stood in the background, and beside him, someone had been circled in red ink. Someone whose face had been scratched out completely, deliberately, as if the writer wanted to erase their identity. But underneath the photograph was a single word: mastermind. Ara whispered, "Who is this?" The detective shook his head. "We don't know." Suddenly, beep. Ara spun around. The heart monitor had changed. Doctors rushed into the room. Nurses followed. Everything became chaos. "Move back. Give us space." Ara stood frozen, terrified. For several endless seconds, nobody spoke. Then the monitor stabilized. The long alarm disappeared. Our doctor looked up, relieved. "He's awake." Ara's eyes filled with tears. Slowly, Taehyung opened his eyes, weak, exhausted, but alive. For a moment, he simply looked at her. Then his gaze shifted toward the evidence box, toward the photograph, toward the face scratched out in red, and suddenly pure fear appeared in his eyes. Ara had never seen him afraid before, not once, not even when he was shot. But now he looked terrified. His lips moved, barely a whisper. Ara leaned closer. "What is it?" Taeyong stared at the photograph, then whispered, "Burn it." Ara froze. "What?" His breathing became heavier. His hand tightened around hers, and his next words made her blood run cold. "Because if he knows we found it," Taeyong's voice cracked, "he will come for you next." The hospital room fell silent. Ara stared at Taeyong, Her heart was still racing from what he had just said. He will come for you next. For the first time since she met him, Taehyung looked genuinely afraid. Not worried, not concerned, afraid. The kind of fear that comes from knowing exactly what someone is capable of. Ara squeezed his hand. Who? Taehyung closed his eyes. His face tightened with pain. The bullet wound was still fresh. The doctors had warned him not to talk, but he knew they did not have time. The photograph. His voice was weak. Don't let anyone see it. Ara frowned. Why? Before Taehyung could answer, the hospital room door suddenly opened. A nurse entered. Visiting odds are over. Taehyung immediately stopped talking, too quickly, almost suspiciously. The nurse smiled politely and left. But the moment the door closed, Taehyung looked toward it, then toward the security camera in the corner. His expression darkened. Ara, what? Take the photograph. Ara nodded and hide it. His voice became lower. Right now. Something in his tone made her move immediately. Sh- She slipped the photograph into her bag. The moment she did, Taehyung finally relaxed, as if that single piece of evidence was more important than his own life. Hours later, the hospital had become quiet. Most visitors were gone. The hallways were nearly empty. Ara sat alone in the waiting area, unable to sleep, unable to think. The photograph remained inside her bag. The scratched out face haunted her. Who was this person? Why was Taeyong terrified of them? And why had someone hidden their identity for 10 years? Then her phone vibrated. Unknown number. Ara froze slowly. She opened the message. Attached was a photograph. Her blood turned cold. It was a picture of her, taken only minutes ago, sitting in the hospital waiting room. Someone had been watching her. The message underneath contained only 6 words. We know what you found. Her hands trembling, another message arrived. Leave the photograph behind. Then another. Or he dies tonight. The world seemed to stop. Ara looked around the empty waiting area. Every stranger suddenly felt dangerous. Every shadow felt alive. Someone was there, watching, waiting. Suddenly the hospital lights flickered once, twice, then the entire floor went dark. People began shouting. Emergency alarms echoed through the building. Ara's heart nearly stopped because in that same moment her phone rang. Unknown number. With shaking hands, she answered. A distorted voice spoke, calm, cold, emotionless. You should have burned the photograph. The call disconnected. Ara immediately ran down the hallway, past terrified patients, past confused nurses, toward the thing's room. Her heart pounding harder with every step. She reached the door and froze. The room was empty. The bed was empty. The monitors were disconnected. The IV stand had been knocked over and taped to the pillow. Was a single white card. Ara slowly picked it up. 3 words were written across it. Game over, Taeyong. The photograph slipped from her fingers. Because she finally understood this was never about Chairman Kang. Someone else had been controlling everything from the shadows. And now they had taken Taehyung. Rain hammered against the windows. Thunder shook the night sky. Ara sat inside her car, gripping the steering wheel so tightly her hands hurt. Taehyung was gone, kidnapped, taken from a hospital guarded by security cameras, nurses, and police officers, as if he had simply vanished. And the worst part, no one knew where he was. The police were searching, the detectives were searching, even the company's private investigators were searching. Nothing, no clues, no witnesses, no mistakes. Whoever took him knew exactly what they were doing. Then, buzz, Ara phone vibrated. A new message, unknown number. Her heart nearly stopped. Slowly, she opened it. A video file, only 15 seconds long. With trembling fingers, she pressed play. The screen showed a dark room, concrete walls, a single hanging light, a chair, and tied to that chair was Taehyung, bruised, bleeding, barely conscious. Ara felt tears fill her eyes. Taehyung? The video suddenly ended. A second message appeared. Come alone. No police, no detectives, or he dies. Ara's breath became shallow. This was a trap. She knew it. But she also knew something else. She could not abandon him. Not now. Not after everything. Hours later, the address led her outside Seoul, far outside, toward an abandoned industrial area hidden between mountains. The place looked forgotten. Empty warehouses, broken fences, rusting machinery, silent. The kind of place where people disappeared. Ara stepped out of her car. The wind howled around her. Then she noticed something. A small symbol painted on one of the warehouse walls. A black crow. The same symbol from the photograph. The same symbol hidden inside the locker files. Her stomach dropped. This was not random. The people behind everything had a name, a group, an organization, and they had been operating for years. Suddenly, a voice echoed from darkness. You came alone? Ara froze. The voice sounded familiar, too familiar. Slowly, a figure stepped into the light. Ara's eyes widened. No, the world titled beneath her feet, because standing in front of her was someone she trusted, someone she never once suspected, someone connected to both her past and Taehyung's. The stranger smiled, a cold, terrifying smile, then spoke four words that change everything. I have been waiting. Ara's blood ran cold because she finally recognized the face, the person from the scratched out photograph, the person everyone thought was dead, the mastermind. The warehouse fell silent. Ara could not breathe. The man standing before her was supposed to be dead. For 10 years, everyone believed he had died in a car accident. News reporters, funeral records, witnesses, everything had confirmed it. Yet, here he was, alive, watching her, smiling. I don't understand, Ara whispered. The man laughed this softly. Of course you don't. His calm voice somehow felt more frightening than anger. You were never supposed to find the locker. Ara's hands trembled. Who are you? The man's smile widened. I was the original chairman. Ara froze. The words hit her like lightning. The original chairman? The founder? The man who built the company before Chairman Kang took control? The same man who supposedly died 10 years ago? But that's impossible, isn't it? He slowly walked toward her. People believe whatever they are told. Ara took a step back. Why? The man stopped. For a moment, the smile disappeared, and something darker appeared. Greed, obsession, power. Because power is not enough. Ara stared at him. He continued. When I built the company, I thought success would satisfy me. His eyes hardened. It did not. The warehouse suddenly felt colder. So I built something bigger. The black crow. Ara immediately remembered the symbol. The crow painted on the wall. The symbol from the flies. The symbol from the locker. The organization behind everything. The founder smiled. Politicians, executives, investors, media owners, they all belonged to me. Ara's heart pounded. This was not a company, it was an empire, a hidden empire, one controlling everything from the shadows. Then she remembered something. Taehyung. The founder smiled. Oh, yes. The smile vanished. Taehyung, for the first time, genuine hatred appeared in his eyes. He ruined everything. Ara froze. What do you mean? The founder laughed. He was supposed to become my successor. The words shocked her. What? He was brilliant, ambitious, perfect. The founder's expression darkened. But then he developed a conscience. Suddenly, footsteps echoed from deeper inside the warehouse. Heavy, slow, deliberate. Ara turned, and her heart stopped. Taehyung? He was alive, bruised, injured, but alive. Two armed guards forced him forward. The moment Taehyung saw Ara, his face changed. Fear, not for himself, for her. Ara? The guards shoved him to his knees. The founder sighed. Even now, Taehyung glared at him. You have already lost. The founder smiled. No. Then he looked directly at Taehyung. I have already won. Slowly, he raised a small remote control. Ara's stomach dropped. What is that? The founder looked around the warehouse, then smiled. Insurance. Taehyung's face turned pale. For the first time all night, he looked terrified because he knew exactly what it was. The founder pressed a button. A screen lit up behind him. Security footage appeared. Dozens of locations, dozens of people, every person Taeyong cared about. Ara's family, former employees, witnesses, detectives, all being watched. The founder's smile returned. If I fall, he looked directly at Taeyong. They fall with me. The warehouse became silent. Then Ara realized something horrifying. This was not the final battle. This was only the beginning. The warehouse was silent. The founder stood smiling. The screen behind him showed dozens of innocent people. Ara's family, witnesses, former employees, everyone connected to the truth. If I fall, the founders say calmly, they fall with me. The warehouse was silent. The founder stood smiling. The screen behind him showed dozens of innocent people. Ara's family, witnesses, former employees, everyone connected to the truth. If I fall, the founder said calmly, they fall with me. Taeyong stared at the screen. Then suddenly he laughed. The founder frowned. What is funny? Taehyung slowly stood, despite the pain, despite the injuries, despite everything. He smiled. For someone who controls everything. His eyes hardened. You missed one thing. The founder's smile disappeared. Then every screen suddenly went black, one by one. The warehouse lights flickered. The security feeds vanished. The founder's expression changed instantly. No, Taehyung smiled. The USB drive. The founder froze. Ara finally understood. The USB was not just evidence. It contained everything, every transaction, every secret account, every member of Black Crow. And earlier that night, the files had already been sent to every major news network, every government agency, every international investigator. The founder's empire was finished. Outside, police sirens echoed, closer, louder. The founder realized the truth. For the first time in 10 years, he had lost. You destroyed everything. Taehyung looked at him calmly. No, you did. Moments later, police stormed the warehouse. The founder was arrested. The Black Cow organization collapsed. The conspiracy that had controlled thousands of lives finally ended. And for the first time in years, the truth was free. But victory did not feel complete because one question remained. Could Ara ever forgive him? 3 months later, spring had finally arrived. The snow was gone. The city felt alive again. Taeyong stood outside apartment 302, the same apartment where everything began, the same apartment where he burned ramen, the same apartment where he stopped being a billionaire and started becoming himself. His hand hesitated above the door, then knock, knock. The door opened. Ara stood there. For a moment, neither spoke, neither moved. Months of pain, months of healing, months of unanswered feelings, all between them. Finally, Ara smiled, a small smile, the first one in months. You look terrible. Taeyong laughed. We have said that before, because it is true. Silence. Then Taeyong took a deep breath. I know. I can't change the past. Ara listened quietly. I know. I heard you. Another pause. Because if I could choose again, his voice softened. I would still knock on your door. Ara's eyes became emotional. The memories flooded back. The coffee, the arguments, the laughter, the late nights, the tiny apartment, the billionaire next door. And despite everything, she still loved him. Finally, she stepped closer, very close, and whispered, then don't disappear again. Taeyong smiled. For the first time in a long time, a real smile. The kind that reached his eyes, the kind that felt like home. And this time, neither of them walked away.
1 year later, the company had changed completely. Taehyung was no longer the cold CEO people feared. He rebuilt everything. Fairly, honestly, the corruption was gone. The secrets were gone. The lies were gone. And on a quiet spring morning, a small crowd gathered outside a new building, a community center, built in memory of every family harmed by Black Crow. Ara stood beside Taeyang as the ribbon was cut. Reporters took photos. People applauded, but neither cared about the cameras because their attention was somewhere else. Across the street, an old convenience store, the same place where their story began. Ara laughed. Remember when I thought you were unemployed? Taehyung groaned. You still tell that story because it's funny. They both laughed. For a moment, everything felt simple, peaceful, normal. Then Ara looked at him. What are you thinking about? Taehyung looked toward the apartment building in the distance and smiled. I'm thinking. He gently took her hand. That the best thing that ever happened to me was moving next door. The sun shined brightly above them. The future stretched ahead, and for the first time, there were no secrets left between them.